Hey guys, in this Tower Fantasy video, I'm going to show you how to turn Zero into the ultimate tank that he was always meant to be. Now, if you're new here, please do me a tiny favor and hit the sub button because that will be super cool. I'm on a subscriber goal this month to hit 28k subs on the channel, and I'm just about 125 away as of the making of this video, so if you could help me out with that, I'd really appreciate it. Alright, so in Tower of Fantasy, the tank class is technically called Fortitude, so that's what this build is, though I feel much more comfortable saying tank, don't you? Now, when you equip 2 or more defense-type weapons in Tower of Fantasy, you activate the Fortitude Resonance, which is a buff that increases your damage reduction by 25%, increases your shatter by 60%, and increases your aggro by 800%. And if you don't know what aggro means, it's basically game language for enemy attention. In team play, the damage reduction buff is further increased by another 20%, giving you a whopping 45% damage reduction in operations and raids and other online content with other players worldwide. Now, Zero is a support type SSR weapon that has the ability to give shields to himself and other players with his discharge skill, and at his first star advancement, he creates healing orbs every 2 seconds that pop out and lay on the ground for anyone to collect. I have Zero at 1-star advancement, and it's currently at level 100 for me. For the game to consider you in Fortitude, you need 2 defense type weapons, so for this I use Huma and Meryl. I have Huma at 2 stars and Meryl at 3 stars. When it comes to weapon chips on Zero, I ideally would like to use his own chipset, Survival of the Fittest, an SSR set with a 2-piece bonus ability that gives you a shield when using a discharge skill to switch to the current weapon, and a 4-piece bonus that increases you and your teammates' damage output while that shield is active. But I only have one of those chips as of the making of this video, but as Artificial Island is a thing now, chipsets are going to be easier to come by, and I have already upgraded my turtle house to level 3 so that I can get the rest of Zero chips as soon as possible. So as a substitute for the Zero chipset, I used the Barbarossa chipset with a 3-piece bonus that upon switching to the weapon, you gain a 62.5% damage reflection at 1-star advancement for 3 seconds. There is a 30-second cooldown for this buff, and upon switching to another weapon, you gain a 25% damage boost for 5 seconds, and there is a 30-second cooldown there as well. This damage reflection combined with Zero's own discharge shielding gives him a lot of protection when you have the aggro of the boss and are the target of most of their attacks. For my 3-star Meryl, the chipset I use here is the Frostbot chipset with a 3-piece bonus that restores HP equal to 160% of attack when HP is below 40% when using a discharge skill to switch to the current weapon. At 1-star advancement, Meryl increases shatter by 15% and restores 10% of HP after shattering a target shield. Then at 3 stars, when you switch to Meryl, you gain an ice shield equal to 10% of max HP. This shield lasts up to 10 seconds and has a 20-second cooldown time. And finally, on my Huma, the Molten Shield V2, I use a hybrid SSR chipset primarily because Huma is one of my lower leveled weapons sitting at level 80. I use a hybrid chipset of King's one-man army that grants an 8% damage boost on shattered targets for 25 seconds, and Huma's own chipset, Slightly Awakened, that inflicts bleed on a target when hitting them with dodge skills. The bleed damage is equal to 15% of attack. Now, if I had all of Huma's chips, I'm missing one, I'd use her 4-piece set bonus that reduces the attack of all targets within 8 meters that are taking damage over time. If I didn't have either of those chipsets, I'd be using the Robarg SR chipset Exhaustion that has a 3-piece set bonus of poisoning a shattered target to deal damage equal to 45% of attack every second for 10 seconds. At 1-star advancement, Huma gets stacks of strong shielding in shield form when using a skill that grants a 10% damage reduction for 15 seconds and can stack up to 3 times. Switching to axe form using skills does the same thing but increases damage instead by 15% for 15 seconds. Relics to use for this build are Kuant, which I have at 2 stars. Kuant grants a shield for 5 seconds, and upon being struck, it knocks enemies back and deals damage equal to 100% of attack plus 50, and if it's broken within 1 second of being created, it stuns enemies for 2 seconds. At 1 star, when the shield is broken, it reduces the speed of attackers by 35%, and at 2 stars, the damage to enemies when the shield is broken is increased by 20%. The other relic I use here is Space-Time Rift, which at no stars launches a proton bomb that creates a black hole that sucks targets in for 10 seconds. It deals damage equal to 39.6% of attack as damage every 0.5 seconds. Confinement is also a good SSR relic to use here as well for a large AoE damage over time. Alright, so that's it in a nutshell, how to turn Zero into a tank. This works on any content, operations, void rifts, raids, whatever it is, you name it, this works. And it works especially well if you have a dedicated healer on your team, though someone else running like one heal, no matter what it is, will be fine, because with all the damage reduction you have from this build, you're not going to be taking much damage anyway, and if you play the build properly, Zero's heals and shields should be enough to keep you protected while keeping the attention of the boss. Now, if you found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, you can show me your thanks by giving this video a like, and again, help me reach 28,000 sub goal on this channel by subscribing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Peace out.